It's time now for How We Felt About. We're going to tell you how we felt about a number of movies this week. We are a little bit late than normal getting the omnibus out because of work schedules and things with Christmas, and so we actually have more new things than we usually would. A little bit later in the program, we're going to talk to you about the Batman and Bill documentary, the Bill Finger documentary, which we've been meaning to review for months. It's been on Hulu for quite a while. We wanted to get something Batman in here, and we keep wanting to talk about that. We did a documentary last time. We feel we're very much in a documentary mood right now. We're also very much in a biopic mood, and we're going to talk about The Disaster Artist. I know Rasco talked about that last time, briefly, but we finally have gotten to see it, so we'll put our 2 cents in as well. And Eric's going to talk a little bit also about The Shape of Water, which I didn't get a chance to see, but he says was a movie he saw. I shouldn't mention what he thought of it, because that's what the sign is for. Anyway, before we do all of that, of course, we're going to get right into the main event for today's How We Felt About, which is the new Star Wars film, Star Wars The Last Jedi, which I had really been looking forward to, and spent the last 2 years taking up for Force Awakens really hard with people, saying, you know, it's just a first act. I know Star Wars isn't usually a mystery film, but they made a mystery film, and let's not jump the gun and wait. It could all work. It could be great. Rey is not necessarily a Mary Sue. We don't know why she's
not just super powerful for no reason.
We don't know why she's able to do all the things she can do, but I feel like the movie's making a mystery out of it. I don't feel like it's just... that was the argument I kept having with people, where folks would say, well, look, she's a pilot, and she's able to use the Force without having any kind of training, and look at all the... and she can beat Kylo Ren in a fight, and look at all these things she can do. It seems like she's just, like, perfect, and she can do no wrong. And I was like, but I think that's the point. I think we're going somewhere with that. And then we saw this film, and it seems like everybody was right about it. They were either right about it, or whichever way Abrams was going with all that, they took a sharp turn.
I can tell you what I have heard, which is that Abrams did have plans and ideas for what happened next, gave none of them to Rian Johnson, and said, go do your own thing.
Okay.
That's
you would have
what
expected some kind of a powwow or a writer's room or something, because the way that's all set up, it feels like, well, that's what I mean, though. Like, even if he, in the back of his mind, had some ideas and was like, well, it would be interesting to treat this more like email role-playing, you know, where I'm going to write my first act, and then I'll let somebody else write the second act. Okay, here's what I have, you go with, because here's the thing. I'm going to say up front, this was probably the most disappointing experience I had at the theater this year. I can't even talk. I feel so weird about it. And I know this is a very polarizing movie, and I know a lot of people are really liking it, and I understand a lot of the reasons that people are liking it, and I think if I had been more passive in watching this, and that's not a slight against people that are enjoying it. I'm going to bury myself in a hole here. I'm just saying that, like, me personally, if I wasn't so invested, and I hadn't been defending that movie, and I didn't like Force Awakens as much as I did, and about the mythology things I thought we were doing with that, I don't think I would be as disappointed. I still don't think I would have liked this movie, though. I have execution issues as much as I have with the direction we went with it.
I think this movie probably works fine for someone that saw Force Awakens in theaters, maybe watched it once on DVD and hasn't gone back to it.
I think so, too. Although I still would have had huge pacing questions.
Oh, there's huge pacing issues. Like, this is not a good movie, I think, almost objectively, but I think a lot of the things that I hate about it come from the fact of I'm a Star Wars fan. And, like,
and I feel like I made the mistake of becoming a Star Wars fan at the worst possible time, what felt like the best possible time, because the old EU went away, and now I can get in on the ground floor. You know, it was what 52 was supposed to be with comics.
Yeah.
And then and then this happens, and it feels like moving forward I got nothing to latch onto, because I feel like the shark was jumped as high as you could jump it, and that's. Overall, my overview, that's how I feel about that movie. Is it fun? Yes, absolutely, in quite a few places. Did I hate everything about it? Not while I was watching it.
No. There's so much stuff that I think works while you're watching it, except for then you get to the payoff. That's when you see the second time.
There were a lot of things that were deflated for me. I was with it in a lot of places. I did not have the Dark World experience where from minute one I was like, I don't know what you guys are doing, but this does not feel like the tone that makes sense for this project, and it's tonally all over the place. This movie I do think does somewhat have, you know, some of those tonal issues, but only when you have all of it together finally.
Well, it's funny because I actually did have that from scene one.
Did you?
We open with a "your mother" joke.
Well, okay, that's not scene one though. But I'm with you. I did have that question too. Yeah.
And doing a being on hold joke that doesn't even make sense in this universe.
That was continuing on from Force Awakens, but taking it to 11. I think I already was wondering about language, and it was, I guess Star Wars just doesn't entirely sound like it used to. This movie over Force Awakens, though, it does feel too modern. It feels too modern made,
and it feels lazy when you go look at every book and comic book from the past 30 years set in Star Wars, where it's like, how come everyone else was able to get this voice mostly right? Why can't you be bothered to make the characters sound like they exist in this universe?
And it's not like everybody in Star Wars speaks super formally. It just feels like a vernacular in a way of speaking that's more universal and more timeless.
This is very modern. All of the humor in this is very modern, I think.
I'm not saying that any of the prequel films are better than this when I make this point. I don't want to make that comparison, but I know people are going to think that, so I just want to throw that up front when I say this. But even the prequels didn't exactly have that problem. There were language issues with the prequels, but a lot of it was more just cringeworthy, like love story stuff. Like overall,
it was bad writing, but still in the vein of the vernacular.
Yeah, I think so too. But anyway, so
the Porgs are not the worst thing in the universe.
Isn't that weird?
I actually like the scene where Chewbacca's eating one of them, and they're all sitting there sad. They should stay on the planet, but they're not the worst thing in the universe.
I thought you were going to complain that Chewbacca doesn't go ahead and eat it in front of them anyway.
I wish he did. That would have been hilarious. I'm not going to complain about that, but that would have been hilarious.
But you don't mind that he kind of makes pets out of them?
I don't really like that. I don't.
That's what he does.
I know, but I don't like the smushed against the glass.
But
and
I'm just sick of that as a joke. We've been doing that everywhere. Like, I think a lot of the humor issues I have with this movie are starting to take over movies.
Yes.
Just in general.
Yes.
You know, where it's like, this is what's funny, and it feels like somebody's putting a sign up. You remember I said that, like, and I got some flack from this in the comments. We didn't talk about this in the letters pages last time, or a couple times ago, but I got a little bit of flack for saying this, but I kind of stand by it. I felt like there were places, and I don't want to keep comparing these too much, but I think humor-wise there are similarities, and it's all Disney, where Ragnarok, in places I felt like was kind of like subliminally trying to tell you, like, this is funny, you're supposed to laugh now, and I feel like we just kind of... That's not just against Ragnarok. I think a lot of, like, we make movies like that now, where it's like, this is the funny part.
It's like movies that should have a laugh track in scenes.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I get that George Lucas is the original offender, if it's an offense at all, for putting slapstick in Star Wars. I just feel like we've gone too far with, like, he wanted some slapstick in Star Wars. Okay, fine, but I just feel like we've gone too far with it.
Yeah, but the slapstick in Star Wars and the humor in Star Wars has always been a very traditional kind of humor. It's a real, just like, this is always funny kind of humor, and then a little bit of just, you know, back and forth kind of quick-witted stuff. This doesn't have that. This is like Ragnarok, not to the extent, but it's that kind of humor.
Yeah, for me, and like, I can blame Force Awakens to a degree because it didn't bother me to the point where I wasn't enjoying the movie and it took me out in the way it did here, and I know it did to you to some degree. I've reached a threshold is the problem. So this is not just against Rian Johnson?
Ryan.
Whatever his name is?
I thought it was Rian for weeks, and then everyone is calling him Ryan. It's just spelled weird. It's R-I-A-N.
Sure. Right,
it's Ryan.
But anyway, I don't know. Force Awakens took it as far as it could take it before it took me out, and this just went too far. I don't need Finn to be the butt of all of these pratfall jokes. I don't... The ongoing he gets shocked all the time thing, it's not funny to me.
No. I don't... I didn't...
And he's funny in his way. Like he is to some degree kind of a comic relief character, but not any more than Han Solo ever was. I don't know why we have to do that to Finn constantly. I feel
our introduction to him is him falling out of bed.
he's a naturally funny actor. It seems like he's supposed to be a naturally amusing character. The idea is he's an alien in a world of aliens, right? He doesn't understand how the universe, how the galaxy works, because he was a stormtrooper, and they're not supposed to have their own independent, way of thinking and be their own person, and now he's thrust in a world where he gets to be his own man, but he has no idea who he is. It's like watching, a 20-something-year-old going through puberty. That's inherently funny. He doesn't have to fall down. Mm-hmm. There are inherently funny things you can do with that, is what I'm saying.
But we make it all physical. The inherently funny parts of that kind of character are the interactions.
Yeah.
We do none of that. I think this is just as bad or worse. Like, he does not feel like someone that was raised to be a stormtrooper.
You think so?
Like, at all. I mean, I had that in the first film, but this film too, like...
Yeah.
He's so, like, trying to be funny all the time. Like, I never get a sense that this was a guy who was raised to murder people.
Well, you want to go ahead and get into the meat of it?
Sure.
I mean,
I think we can safely divide this film into two sections.
Okay.
One is the stuff that works not at all, and one is the stuff that feels like it's working while you're watching it, but then falls completely apart at the end. So do you want to talk about the Jedi stuff or the Rebellion stuff?
I want to start more generalized than that, if I may.
Okay.
And I like your breakdown in separating that way, and we can do that. May I make this statement first?
Okay.
I guess the franchise too much credit because we're talking about a different team. Like, it felt to me like a Man of Steel into BVS situation, except it's not the same person writing or directing it, right? Mm-hmm. Where with Man of Steel to BVS, I kept watching Man of Steel and liking it less and less as I was watching it, but still giving it a lot of benefits of the doubt. And then I went into BVS and I went, oh wait, here were these things I was seeing in Man of Steel that I gave the benefit of the doubt that never really actually worked, and I overthought it. Mm-hmm. I had the same thing with this. But it's a different group of people making it, so it's really awkward. And it feels that way, right? Like, it feels like a totally off the beaten path, like somebody else just got their hands on this and they're making a different thing. Sort of. So the biggest issue I have, and the reason I had such a hard time taking the movie seriously and caring at all, is because I expected to be right. I expected the mythology stuff to make sense and be going somewhere. I told people over and over again, like I said, like, don't expect that this stuff is not gonna make sense at the end, and then it doesn't. I needed an explanation for, or at least to continue to make it a mystery, but I really wanted this movie to come out and explain it. I needed this film to talk about what Rey is and what that mystery is. It's not enough to just say she didn't have the parentage that she didn't have any like parentage that matters. Her parents didn't care about her. She's nothing. That tells us nothing about the Force part of it. I don't know why she's this like seer in the Force. And the first movie was this big mystery. So I needed to know why the lightsaber was calling to her. We don't have that. That I couldn't even handle it. I expected that stuff. I thought it would be smart enough to, if not give us that, at least make it clear that it was still there and was going to matter, and that it's not just there's nothing. There's no explanation.
No, they made a film that was hinged entirely on building on it, and then they built on it not at all. They explained nothing. This film is like anticlimax after anticlimax after anticlimax, and maybe in some way that's supposed to be the point, but it does not make for a good or engaging film. That just, hey, you know how everything that you thought mattered, none of that matters.
And even if I really enjoyed it as an experience, I would still feel let down because I don't feel like it matches the story and is a good continuation of the story we had before. It's also kind of a Rises situation.
It almost kind of feels like
in that way,
like.
For me.
Originally, the rumor was that Rian Johnson was going to write the third film, but he's not. It almost feels like he was saddled with stuff, and he was, like, clearing the board for what he wanted to do, but he's not making another movie.
No, and now he's going to kick the ball back to the same guy who did it the first time. That's going to be very, very strange. So, I mean, it is possible that some of those things that I expected revelations for that were just completely dropped could come back in a third movie, because the weird thing is, if Abrams comes back, because he is co-writing that movie, if Abrams comes back and he says, well, I had these ideas of where I thought it would go, and now I'm suddenly in this again and didn't think I would, so I'll just bring those in, it could fix it to some degree. I don't want to say it's entirely unsalvageable, but boy, walking out, it felt like it to me. I don't want to say it's completely not, though, but it will feel very strange going back to this movie and not having any sense at all that anything is in motion about that stuff. About, like, I needed to know why she's so powerful in the Force, and I needed to know what Snoke is. And I needed to know what the big difference is between Snoke and Kylo Ren as a duo versus the Sith and the regular rule of two. I don't understand I don't know what it is that Kylo Ren's motivations are kind of all over the place in a mystery. I think I know what they think they're doing, but I don't think it works, and we can talk about that. Mm-hmm. But and I guess we should mention full spoilers on this. We didn't say that. I'll try to make sure to put that in the title, but full spoilers on this. And yes, this is the only video we're going to make about this. For right now. I mean, eventually there could be a commentary or something. I don't know. Yeah. But right now, but by the end, when he's like, hey Rey, let's get rid of, when it looks like they're going to team up, which was a very interesting idea, and I was kind of with, except I was wondering who the heck the bad guy would be now. When they team up and then after that he says, no, join me, let's rule the universe, or the galaxy, or whatever, I want to know what the difference is between that and the Sith and the regular rule of two. It seems like exactly the same thing to me. I don't understand.
And a lot of it feels like things that we didn't explore. And you know what? Maybe, everything should be in the movie, but maybe if they'd put out anything that, like, explored this section of the universe.
Yeah.
And we knew who Snoke was from, like, a novel or comics, and, like, some of this stuff that are just huge dangling questions were explored in any way, anywhere.
Because they made him a mystery. I mean, they really did make a big
But there's so much, like,
he looks very old. He's been around for a long time. We're only 30 years after the original trilogy. Who he is in the grander scheme of the universe,
the original trilogy
is potentially very interesting. And it turns out he's just a stand-in for the Emperor. And I guess the idea is supposed to just be like, he is the Emperor, and isn't it cool that we killed him now instead of later? I guess like that's okay. That's subversive. I guess.
This movie a number of times does a thing where, because everyone kept talking about how crazy this movie is.
Yeah.
It's crazy, it's bold, it does things differently.
Well, it is, but in such a counterintuitive way.
I don't think it does anything really differently. Like, this movie basically ends where it starts. Like,
is it just bold in that you expect it to be exactly Empire again, and then it does Jedi things at the end? Like, is that...
Nothing about this movie is bold. Every time they make a choice where I'm like... So, they kill Snoke, which is a ridiculous scene how they kill him. Like, that is the dumbest thing. That he's just reading his mind, but can't read that he's about to kill him? Okay.
No, I'm with you. I didn't buy that either.
But he... Maybe the most powerful Force user we've ever seen.
And guys, look, I get what it's supposed to be. I mean, I get what the scene is saying, but it's that concept over execution thing where I feel like it's trying to dupe me into thinking that makes sense, and it doesn't make sense. So he's reading the intent, but doesn't realize that he's gonna kill him instead of Rey, and the idea is supposed to be that he's not dark side so much as going a different direction. But again, I don't buy that it isn't the dark side, because I feel like we're having to change the rules, where there's almost not a light side and a dark side now.
But
and
there is by the end.
But there still is, yeah. And so the whole thing is, like, if he was letting the dark side consume him so that he's going to then try to take over everything himself, that's what the dark side does. Like, that's what a Sith apprentice is supposed to do. Eventually, you kill your master, and you get a new pupil, and right? That's what they do.
That's what they do.
That's what they do. Like, yes, Vader killed his master, but the difference is he didn't then take over the world after that. That's the difference.
Mm-hmm. But so, like, with that sequence, so they turn, and like I had this moment where I'm like, oh, I never considered they both go light side.
Me neither.
That's insane. What are you going to do for the third movie? Oh, it's not Kylo Ren's just bad.
No, I loved that. I mean, I was a little worried that you can't do anything with it, but in the moment I was like, this is interesting.
And then we undid it.
Yeah.
Which is what we do with everything. This entire movie thematically is a lie. It's all about moving forward and letting go of the past, except when you get to the end of it,
we haven't done that. We just keep saying that we have platitude after platitude. Part of the reason this movie is hard to watch for me, especially on a second viewing, I had a really bad second viewing of this. I did go see it again, and
I also saw it again.
I took my family, and we don't usually have time to do that, but we had a whole week, and so we went and saw it again.
I wanted to double check before we talked about it on camera. I wanted to get a second viewing.
Now, understand, folks, we can't always do that, and this is still how we felt about it, in that it's still, I mean, we've seen it twice, but it's still, first impressions in the sense that we've only had a week to sit on it. Anyway, it's just, we can't do a full-blown, thought-out analysis. We've had a lot of time to sit down with this movie. We have talked about it a lot, though.
Yeah.
But I had a rougher second viewing because of a lot of it was all the constantly speaking in platitudes and not talking to each other the way people talk. Now, I realize, again, there's heightened language in Star Wars, but this was different. Everything's couched in metaphor, and it felt, I know some people hate it when I say this, but it felt real, latter Smallville, real CW.
It feels like it's analyzing itself while it's happening.
Yeah.
And part of the problem with that is it's wrong about itself. Everything everyone says is about letting go of the past and moving on, which again would be a really interesting idea, could be a really interesting idea, because it's the First Order, which we never get an explanation for. We've theorized that might be, it's basing itself on an earlier empire in the universe, and that Kylo Ren has his lightsaber is based on the first lightsaber. All of these ideas about the past, none of them in the movie, none of them in Expanded Universe, because we're not allowing anyone to do anything. We're not actually doing anything with those ideas. But the idea of letting go and moving forward is constantly talked about. We're not going to do the Jedi and the Sith. We end this movie with the Jedi and the Sith. We're everything's so different. It's the Empire and their nothing is different. There is nothing bold. There is nothing unique about this movie.
Yeah, the thing is,
but it keeps telling you it is, and that's what I think this movie lies to you, because everyone's speaking in platitudes about moving forward, and the movie moves nothing forward.
And that's really problematic. Obviously, I mean, and we should keep talking about that, but also I couldn't latch on to a lot of people as real people.
I couldn't latch on to a single character in this movie. Not one.
But yeah, to your point, to what you're saying, when we switch gears and go there, when Luke Skywalker is talking about the fact that the Jedi and the Sith is a cyclical thing, and the bad guys keep being Jedi who went dark, so maybe the Jedi are the problem. Yes, there's a point there, and we should explore that. I like that that's there. I think you can finally make, I'm glad we didn't do it in the original trilogy, but I think you can finally make a Star Wars movie that is more about Shades of Grey. I think we can do that, and I think we should. But the problem is, this is talking about Shades of Grey, but then at the end, is it contradictory about it on purpose? Is it, and contradictory is not the right word, but is the idea that it thinks it's giving you two sides of a thing, where I'm actually just kind of confused about where the movie itself is coming down on things, where you have Shades of Grey on the one side, but then on the other side you have Finn making a choice about whose side he's going to be on.
Yeah, I don't know. The Finn thing feels so disconnected from the rest of the film thematically.
It does.
I don't know what's going on with Finn. And even Kylo Ren at the end is let's burn it all down. Let's get rid of the Jedi and the Sith and all this. And I'm just going to keep doing exactly what I was doing 6 seconds ago. I'm going to keep being evil. I'm going to murder all of these people. I'm going to do nothing. He is the teenager. He is the goth teenager who's himself, and everyone else is being a drone while he hangs out with all of his friends that are the same as him.
The problem is you have a fascinating idea between him and Rey that is not explored, is dropped, and I'm confused as to why it's ever there when we get to where we get by the end. So, Rey is... hear me out for a second. Kylo Ren... Excuse me. I almost said Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren is the naturally good person who has decided to go dark and keeps being seduced by the light. What an interesting idea.
Yeah.
And I love that idea in Force Awakens, and the idea that he takes out his father to solidify it, and then we get to this movie and he still has that exact same kind of conflictedness, or that made him more conflicted. I get that he would still be conflicted, I get that, but he's made a choice. Mm-hmm. And I want to see what that guy deciding to keep going down that path is like. Maybe that's what this is supposed to be, when his ultimate darkness is just trying to take over everything. I guess that's what it is.
In the first place.
I don't know. It's just, it's awkward for me. But but here's the worst thing. I just want this explored because it's such a cool idea, and it's not that the movie isn't doing what I want it to. It's that these movies set this up. Like, I want it because it's what they were giving me. Okay, Kylo Ren is, as I said, the Sith who is naturally a Jedi, and Rey is established at the beginning of the movie, at least to Luke Skywalker's interpretation, as the Jedi who is naturally Sith. And I just want to see that explored. That's such a cool idea. And when he's like, you naturally go to the dark place. I can't train you. Like I've cut myself off from everything. I'm a bent and broken man. I'm done with all of this. I'm never going to train anybody again. And when I finally have considered maybe I'm going to do it, somebody comes to me that looks pure of heart, and the first thing she does is go to hell. I love that. We do nothing with it.
Nope. And here's the thing: is never again will the film mention that she is.
Because it's all about balance. Like, what if Star Wars fans might not agree with this, and it's funny because I'm kind of this midpoint Star Wars fan now, where like I haven't consumed enough yet.
Like I am with Star Trek at this point.
Yeah, exactly. But so this might not make any sense to people, but the mythology is so generic and ethereal right now that I feel like you could do about anything. Doesn't it feel like the natural place this should go is to find someone who can handle both?
Yeah.
The balance in a singular person.
Oh, you mean Star Wars Legacy?
Legacy does this. We keep finding. If I'm reading Legacy correctly, that's what that is. Where it's like, if the universe is supposed to be balanced, why can't a singular person be balanced in the light side and the dark side? You need both, and a human being has both a dark side and a light side. So, wouldn't being able to have control of your emotions, which is what the whole light side is about, if you could do that perfectly, shouldn't you also be able to tap into the dark side? Because it's about balance. You need both sides. They both have to exist. That as an argument is really interesting, and I would love to see those two having that argument. Yeah. I just feel like that's the natural place for that to go. Yeah. How are we not doing that?
You would think with all of the ideas that are in this film that what we would get to at the end is we would have Force users who don't or aren't really like light or dark. They're just kind of people.
I think that, yes, and I've heard other people say that that's where they thought maybe it was going.
That's where it seems to be going.
Is the problem that the having our cake and eat it too issue that you were talking about earlier, where the movie wants to say, look how different we're going, we're throwing away the terms, but we're still keeping all the trappings. Is the problem that we have to have a Empire versus tiny, like now 15-person rebellion, at the same time as we're trying to go a different way with the Force, when ultimately we're really not doing that either? What I'm saying is, we introduced all those ideas, but we still want the trappings of Star Wars to look the same. It shouldn't be an Empire situation. This idea works in a world where you have bad guys, but where the world's not ruled by bad guys.
It works more in what we are presented with in The Force Awakens, which is
if you kept that status
that there's
quo.
A new republic, and the First Order is kind of a terrorist organization. This movie takes place both 6 seconds and 6 months after that.
We need to talk about that too.
The entire status quo of the universe has altered.
Somehow,
and now the first Order is just the Empire.
That makes it really hard to take seriously very early.
Yeah,
where you've got Rey on the island, and I have a tough time with that because I feel like just the whole tone and what we're doing with that scene, it feels really contrary to what we did before. I mean, it feels like somebody who doesn't understand the rules of improv. You know what I mean?
Well,
like
and also,
you jump off what the last person did, but you're pretending like you invented it, and you go a totally different way with it instead of.
It feels like someone who came in and like wants to punish us. Is like, how dare you care? Which is what I'm seeing a lot on the internet. Is like people being angry at people not liking this movie, and basically the argument is, how dare you care what happened in this movie? You should have come in with a completely blank slate.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to spend this whole time talking about other people's opinions contrary to ours.
No, absolutely not.
But you're right that. That was a setup movie.
Yeah, and this should be a continuance of that.
Kind of another setup movie, in a way. I'm not saying that it's not entirely a continuation. I just don't think it's a good one. But anyway, so you're on the island. It's immediately after that last movie. Meanwhile, it feels like a bunch of time has passed. They try to finagle it so that it's just kind of retconning what happened in the end of the last movie, where it's like, you didn't realize this, but blowing those planets up meant we got rid of the whole Republic. I didn't get the sense from that. I mean, we destroyed a lot of Republic
planets. We have a pretty triumphant ending when we destroy Starkiller Base.
That's the problem with it, is that we act like things are going to maybe be okay. Like we're in worse shape than we were, but it doesn't feel like we're now down to just, even if we are just rebellion in First Order, it's a better and bigger rebellion than we had initially.
Yeah, it's really weird. The end of that movie is...
It doesn't match.
It's
a totally different status quo.
And we're down
We
to
walked in and you said, how could you have a crawl?
Yeah, because we pick up 6 seconds later. And the crawl is just retconning. It's just forget everything you saw in the last 5 minutes.
It's not, it's retconning.
Yeah, forget everything you saw in the last 5 minutes of the last movie. It's a completely different status quo now. So much so that a major plot point of this film doesn't make sense with the last film. Or a major... I'm not gonna say plot point, thematic point. When with Finn with the guy who's like, all right, let's see who this guy is. The entire Finn plotline thematically is at odds with the previous film. We go to a casino planet where all of these people are arms dealers, and then the big revelation is that these arms dealers don't just deal to the First Order.
Right.
They deal to the Resistance as well. Okay, here's the problem.
Which I want to talk about in a second, because I think that's potentially really silly.
Up until 6 seconds ago, when we blew up all the planets, the Resistance was part of the established New Republic government. This would be like if in Iron Man 1, everyone was aware that Tony Stark sold weapons to terrorists, and then the reveal was that he sold weapons to the government. No, of course all of these arms dealers sold weapons to the government of the galaxy.
That's a thought I had, is that it kind of wants to be Iron Man.
But it's weird that he would start with, oh look,
and that moral ambiguity thing.
Because Rose hates these people because they make weapons for the First Order. First Order was a small terrorist order.
Because they make this pretty place, she says, that's like, it's couched in gorgeousness, but they're doing these horrible things to people in the background to make it happen in the first place. And like, that's okay. The issue I had was, I mean, like, yeah, you're absolutely right. We're pretending like the status quo has always been different, and that's.
We're also pretending like the Empire never left, because Rose's backstory, I guess Finn's too, is they're raised from being children.
Yeah.
We're 30 years later. Was there 5 years of New Republic?
They could kidnap people or something, but like, how long is they don't know what the First Order is.
No, and they have no idea when it started.
And they don't really know what the old Republic was in relation to the Resistance. And you remember, you and I don't know if you and I argued about it, but I argued with people at Force Awakens were one of my big issues with that movie, and I like that movie. This hurts it, but I mean, I like that movie a lot. But one of the big things I complained about was... Well, again, I'm starting to think I gave it too much credit after this, but it's different people making it, so it's weird. But anyway, one of the big complaints I made was, why would you have a Resistance... And Plinkett talked about this too. Why would you have a Resistance and a Republic? At the very least, the Republic should be arming the Resistance. Like, if it's about, like, where you are in proximity, if it's about where you live, if it's like, the First Order took over this territory, and there were people in that territory that decided not to leave, but they want to take down the First Order, okay, that's a Resistance. But the way they treat it is like it's also the military, because the Republic seems to have no standing military, and it ends up being the same problem that you have with Vulcan in Star Trek 09, and it's the same guy making the movie. That was always really problematic. Look, I was right, this whole movie has no idea what those two things are.
Yep, no one has any idea what's happening in the galactic politics of it. And I also think that, like, this big revelation that, like, arms dealers deal to both sides, like there's bad guys on both sides kind of thing. I'm not saying it was well done or well executed, but this is literally, and it treats it like this huge revelation, like it's going to blow your mind.
Well, and you've always had that kind of stuff in Star Wars with smugglers and stuff, where you have people who don't pick a side, and that's what Del Toro is supposed to be.
But, like, it treats it like it is going to punch you in the gut and be like, you never thought about this in Star Wars, did you?
Yeah.
I'm not saying it was well executed. It is literally the entire point of the prequel trilogy.
That's true. That's true.
Politics... War is not actually benefiting the people within the galaxy. It's all about politics, and politics are distant and above everything else. The same person was controlling both sides. Like, I'm not saying it was well done, but it was the idea. And so to go here and be like... Because this movie almost has a smugness about how genius it thinks it is, and how, like, you never thought you would see this in Star Wars.
I think
it's doing nothing new.
Too self-serious. Yeah. The big issue I took with the casino thing, besides the fact that I thought that whole section was dull and tedious, and took too long, and felt kind of TV. Sorry.
I mean, the whole movie feels TV.
That especially.
The plot of the film feels like an episode of a television show.
That or a season of like in a bad way, where you have all these. It felt like we were wasting time, but also at the same time pretending like we're not wasting time by trying to have like a real poignant message that it slaps you in the face with. It felt like these subplots that were just, during a space of several episodes of a TV show where we have 22, but we really should have only gotten 12, where we're padding out and and wasting time. That's what it felt like.
Drove for a while.
The big issue. That's it. The big issue I had with the casino part is twofold. A, it didn't feel like Star Wars. It felt like the way the casino was conceived. Okay, I feel like a Star Wars casino should be like a cantina. It's not that you shouldn't have casinos and gambling in Star Wars. That seems like a very Star Wars thing. But even Star Trek did this better. Couldn't we have some games that look more alien and spacey? And like, this might sound like a really nitpicky point, but that whole subplot, partly because of this, didn't feel like
it's the
Star Wars
diner thing again.
I felt like they took the... Yeah, you're taking my point from me.
Sorry.
I feel like you're fine. I feel like they took the 50s diner from Episode 2 and they made a whole subplot about it. I don't like that. It's not a cool, weird alien space casino. I'd love to know what that would look like in Star Wars. No, it's a parody of a 1940s like gangster run casino. How about a Hutt casino? What would that look like? What would a casino run by the gangsters we have seen in the Star Wars universe look like? How about something like that? Also, here's part two. When I think, and this is a bigger deal, when I think of casinos, I don't think of like obviously a beautiful, happy place where everyone gets along and there's nothing seedy going on.
Not a single person in the world has ever thought this about a casino.
No, of course. Like, it's a snazzy place. It's a place that people like to go because it makes them feel high society and stuff. And I'm not completely anti-casino. I'm just saying that, especially in fiction, usually when we use a casino, and this is what this place is, it turns out to be like, casinos are where there's a lot of like shady business things happening, and you're being ripped off, and the house always wins. And it's weird that you have Rose saying like, "What do you see?" Well, I see corruption. It's a casino, but she's like, you have to look past the facade. She's acting like you're looking at Candyland.
That's exactly what she's acting like.
But I'm seeing like evil Monopoly. I don't understand. The board game metaphor didn't work ultimately, so I had to finagle it. Anyway, but here's the thing. You can I have a little bit more to this point.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a really interesting idea in Star Wars to use a casino as a metaphor, and I feel like there is like a clear metaphor there. For like,
especially in a movie all about hope.
That's it. Thank you. Because I had this point from before. This is the problem when you have conversations. You have to go back and reconstruct your conversations, because we've talked about this a lot already. That's it. It's a false hope. Thank you, because I would not have remembered my point. That's my point. Star Wars is all about hope. Casinos give you false hope. How are we not doing that?
And this movie won't stop saying hope.
How are we not doing that? And again, it's not just that it's not doing this idea that I think is a cool idea that I came up with. It's right there.
Yeah, it's clearly what it should be.
If you're going to do it.
And this whole subplot is mired by... Okay, here's the thing. Rose is a terrible character. I don't even know what is happening with her. I think the actress is awful. She feels like she's someone's like niece or something that really wanted to be in Star Wars. Like, she's bad up and down. They're idiots constantly, and I can never feel bad or good for them. They just crash their ship on the beach, and then run into the casino. And then somebody goes, yeah, I don't know, they just put their ship on the beach and then yelled they were going to the casino. And they get into the casino, and they're going around, and they're acting like jerks, and they're constantly pushing people and being as obnoxious as possible. And then the guards show up and they're like, hey, you're those people that are being obnoxious and just parked your boat on or your ship on.
They're not even smart about it.
Yeah, and I don't know what because they see the man with the rose. Which why couldn't you give me a picture of what he looks like?
That's also my point. I want to talk about that.
Yeah, yeah. So they find the guy with the thing, and then these guards show up, and I feel like a lot of this movie thinks it's trying to be subversive or like that Whedon-y like. Didn't you ever think about this in narrative? Like, here's this thing you never thought of. Well, no. When your characters act like idiots, I expect them to get caught and be treated like idiots.
Yeah, no, that's right. Can I mention the Moss thing real quick?
Sure, absolutely.
And we're already about 40 minutes in.
Oh, good.
And like there's just so much we haven't even gotten into the meat of it, or a lot of the meat of it.
We haven't even talked about
the island and
the. We haven't even gotten into the Poe stuff, which I think is maybe the most offensive stuff. It's not, I don't know if it's the worst stuff, but it's.
I think so too. Yeah, the Luke Skywalker stuff is more just baffling, really. Where I'm just like, I don't know why anybody would go there with that, but okay. No, I want to mention.
Neither does Mark Hamill.
Yeah, he didn't care for that. But yeah, I want to mention the Moss thing real briefly, just because I think this is indicative of some of the logic issues with this movie, where. Well, and also I just think it's silly. This is just funny to me, so I'm going to mention it. So she's like, I know this great code breaker. Go find him. He's got this rose thing on his lapel. She's fighting guys over some kind of a union dispute, which I think is funny. I kind of like that, where she's just she's shooting people. She's like, I'm in a union dispute. Don't ask questions about it. I think that's great.
No, that is funny.
But she's on a hologram, and it's gonna sound somewhat nitpicky, but I think it's hilarious. She's on a hologram, and she's shooting these guys, and she's able to somehow make this rose thing come out of nowhere, even though she's not pressing any buttons, and when she says it, it automatically shows up like somebody's running a PowerPoint presentation behind her, and
like
then...
she knew they were gonna call about this.
Yeah, but if she can do that, why can't she just give him a picture of him?
Well, I
don't understand that.
It's this thing of being needlessly...
At least explain, and why are you not explaining what he looks like? At the very least, tell me he's human.
What
species is
say
he?
His name.
About it. Yeah.
Stop being needlessly vague and cryptic for no reason.
And that's the part where it's problematic. Where that's problematic for the whole movie.
That's not a nitpick.
Because and that's the part where it's not a nitpick. The part that's a nitpick is it's hilarious that it just shows up on the screen. The part where it's not a nitpick is you're needlessly cryptic to make that subplot go on longer. And as you said earlier, I don't like to throw this word around, so I mean it when I say it. It's lazy. It's lazy writing. All you have to do is think it out, noodle it out a little bit, and come up with an exciting but logical way to get us into that whole thing. But anyway, so you say like why do we have to be needlessly cryptic? That's the whole problem with the Poe subplot. So let's get into that.
Okay, so Poe is also I think intrinsically linked with the deification of Princess Leia. Every other character we ever meet in these two movies, we have to talk about how terrible they are and how they're not who you think they are, and they're all crappy, except for Princess Leia, who's the most powerful Force user in the universe, and the greatest military leader of all time.
I mean, they don't throw Han Solo under the bus.
He abandoned his child and went back to being a smuggler.
That guy, I guess so.
No, he gets it too. She's the only one.
The movie acts more reverential about him than it does Luke Skywalker, I guess. But
no, we have deified Princess Leia. I mean,
it also acts reverential about Luke Skywalker, but at the same time, isn't.
And his whole point is like, I'm not who you think. Leia's the only one, and the entire idea of this movie is history's crappy and it's not what you think it is, except for Leia. She is the greatest person in the entire galaxy. She can get shot out into space.
I lost it after that.
He turned to me in the middle of the theater when that happened. He goes, "This is a shark." If she can do that, well, this is a problem.
Real fast though, even before you go there, we have to break that down, okay?
Okay.
It is preposterous. Because we do that, obviously, just as a token way to show her physically using the Force. She's had no training, so I guess that's the explanation for Rey, is we've changed the rules now. No one needs training. And the point is, the Jedi never mattered because they train you to do stuff you would have figured out in 6 seconds anyway. That's not how it works.
It's not like they're not monks anymore, they're just superpowers. It's not things you learn.
They're just superpowers, and that makes it so much less interesting. And it is too influenced by superhero movies in that way.
Absolutely.
But anyway, so it's worse than we're even making it out to be, because not only can she do this, but she's unconscious before it happens. And it's not like she knows she can do it. Has she ever done this before? I really doubt it. So she gets shot into space, and like everybody else, and everybody dies, it looks like she's going to die.
Admiral Akbar.
Yep, and all of our leadership. Oh, that was the funniest bit. Do you remember this? Brandon looks at me and he starts cracking up, and I was like, yeah, that is really funny. Like, it feels like self-parody, and I'm not even sure it knows it. Like, there are places where this movie takes itself way too seriously, and places where it does not take itself seriously enough. I know I'm jumping around, but you said that, I have to mention this. We've lost Admiral Akbar. Remember that speech? Is it from Jurassic Park, lady? There's
No, it's the one that's going to introduce her.
There's a speech. We've lost Admiral Akbar and all of our leadership, and they cut. It feels like a Saturday Night Live sketch. We cut to a lot of the remaining pilots and people, and everyone simultaneously just goes, "Oh," you know. It's hilarious. It's really funny. Anyway, she gets shot. She gets shot into space, and she's unconscious, and then she just wakes up, and then she like. And then she like Tinkerbells herself over.
That's interesting. My mom said she flies like a fairy.
Yeah, she Tinkerbells herself back into the ship, and then immediately is in a coma. What? I don't even know what's happening. That is really baffling. So I guess it's that stupid thing where the Force is within us and works through us, and we can, if we're Force users, use it for our own ends sometimes, but at the end of the day, it's all destiny, and it does whatever it wants to. And if that's the explanation, because that's the only thing that explains that scene, it's not like she does anything of her own free will. She wakes up. Like, what wakes her up? It doesn't make any sense. So at the end of the day, why do I care about anything that happens? Because it seems like the whole point is just it's all a cycle, it's all a vicious cycle, and at the end, and nobody makes any choices. Jedi was all about choice.
Yeah. Well, and
the end of Jedi is all about choice. Empire is all about choice. Luke shouldn't have gone to fight Vader.
He made the
wrong choice because he was impulsive and he was led too much by his emotion. That was not the time.
It's kind of like last movie where Kylo Ren stops a blaster bolt, and it's like, we've never seen anyone do that before. He must be really powerful. Oh, the rest of the movie you're going to tell me what a punk he is, and that Rey can beat him without any training. Okay. If Leia can do this, she is an awful leader, because she should be on the front line swinging a lightsaber. Why is she standing around waiting for Luke if she can do things like this?
Well, and it's because she didn't know she could, except that nobody ever talks about it.
It seems like she just knows how to do it. Like, she doesn't seem to be surprised to me. She just does it.
She doesn't wake up and talk about it, but we also have had no mention or sense that she could do anything like that before.
She's just Force sensitive. She can kind of feel Luke.
Because we have to, and her son and stuff, which is fine.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
But I just don't understand why, if you knew you could do that, then I'm with you, you'd be doing things with it, and if you didn't, you'd be surprised!
Yeah. This whole movie has altered what the Force is and what the Jedi are and all of this. Like, Luke has this line where he's like, to say that if the Jedi die, the light dies is like the height of hubris. No one thinks that. No one understood the Force like that. The Jedi were the ones that used the light side. We didn't think that the Jedi created it or were like the battery that powered it. Like, it was just, it's there, and these are the people that know how to use it, so we want these people because they know how to use it.
We're thinking too much about mistakes the prequels made when we do that.
But even the prequels weren't this bad in the sense of Anakin is the capital C, capital O, chosen one. He is Space Jesus. He is the most powerful person that will ever exist. He gets heightened reflexes, brief glimpses of the future. He can't do anything with the Force, like, by his own power. We have a small child in this movie move a broom to his hand. It's only like this much. I don't care. It's too much. The Force isn't...
We're changing the rules. And here's the thing. They had an out where they could change the rules if they wanted to. It's called The Force Awakens. All you had to do is explain to us in this movie, or maybe the last one, that would have been nice, what that means. Yeah, it doesn't mean anything.
Like, there's some kind of like overload and the Force is more powerful than it's ever been. No, it's just superpowers now.
And here's the thing. You needed that, right? The Force has to do something. Maybe the idea is, because I know the EU has, the original EU has the Force as being like somewhat sentient, right?
Yeah.
If you went that way, we're like the Force is like the personification of the universe, and it understands things and it can make decisions itself. And it's like the Watchers, where it doesn't mess with things very often, but sometimes it just can't help itself.
It's overpowering people so that they can take out the darkness because it's unbalanced.
Yes, that would be the way to handle that. Because here's the thing: you had a lot of people who, going into this movie, said, she has to be Luke's kid. It's the only explanation for what she can do. No, it's not. Even if this movie had said, and that's the thing, there is no satisfactory explanation. Now, I know I said earlier I needed one. This gives us nothing, and I don't think there's one. But I mean, I just gave you a potential one. If it's that, and the title of the last movie suggests that something has changed. Okay, that's the only possible explanation. That I can think of. If you came out and said she is Luke Skywalker's kid, I wouldn't be as annoyed as I am right now because we got no explanation. That still doesn't explain it, because it's not like Luke, as the direct descendant of Anakin, could do any of the stuff
any Force powers whatsoever before he starts getting trained.
Riddle me this, Batman. Why does the lightsaber call to her
and didn't call to him? And I mean, he picks up that same lightsaber.
And that's not a thing lightsabers do anyway.
Nope, never happened before. Well, now the kyber crystals are sentient, so, you know, whatever.
But according to EU comic stuff, but if something about the Force changed, and they wanted to make it more Harry Potter-ish, then we could maybe get behind that.
If we made it...
And don't you feel like there's a lot of that? This movie is really influenced by Harry Potter. I don't know if you thought about that, but like, Snoke seems really Voldemort-y, and there's one or two other things. I don't have a list, but that reminded me really heavily of Harry Potter.
And I've seen people try to explain why these people can do these Force things.
Okay.
It doesn't work. It's just legends and stories. The kid at the end can move the broom because he was just listening to a story about Luke Skywalker. The reason Rey can do stuff in Force Awakens that she shouldn't be able to do is because she's heard Jedi can control people's minds, so she just tries it. That's not how... I am aware that people can do one-arm push-ups. That doesn't make me able to do it. And no one up until this point is able to do anything...
Between the prequels and the original trilogy, we got to a place where people think it's an ancient religion, and it's not true. So I guess the idea could be, if nobody believes in it, they wouldn't even try. But if you are Force sensitive and it's that easy, where like you just hear a story and you try it, it's that, because they don't even necessarily believe it really. Those kids believe it really happened. They're just playing pretend, right? Because I mean, it is an urban legend. The people, like Rey in the first movie, doesn't even know that Luke Skywalker's a real person. She says, "Oh, we thought you were a myth." Remember? So, am I right about that? Yeah. I think that's right. So, if I'm questioning things because this movie doesn't match up, and so like, do I even remember that right? But I watched it again last week before we went and saw that.
I did too.
Wouldn't you have Force users everywhere? Would you have people all over the place?
It would be pandemonium.
Pandemonium.
Anakin existed in a universe where Jedis were running around all the time, and everyone knew they existed. And no one in that universe was just like, wouldn't all of the kids be playing pretend Jedis, and some of them would be like, hey, I can summon things to me?
No, it'd be worse than that. You'd have some really horrifying moments where people would be like, you're dead!
Yeah. No, this movie fundamentally breaks the Force, and how Jedis and Sith work. Or anyone.
It also fundamentally breaks light speed.
I'll get to that. That's all tied up with Poe, too. But no, this movie fundamentally breaks their knights, their monks. They have trained to do things with the Force that you can't normally do.
We're about 50 minutes. I don't know how much longer we're going to do this.
Okay,
we have so much.
Okay, yeah. Let's talk about Poe Dameron, let's talk about the awful lady from Jurassic Park, and let's talk about how it breaks light speed.
Yeah, we'll see if we can knock this out in 10-15 minutes.
Okay. Poe's lesson at the end of the day is, don't think, do what I tell you.
For no reason.
She is the worst military leader ever.
And I've talked to some folks that really liked, and I think it's a little bit ham-fisted at the end. I think it's more than a little bit ham-fisted. But I talked to some folks that really liked the Poe Dameron thing in this, like, you know, hot shot learning that there should be a chain of command and we have to work together and all of that. I think that stuff could have worked, except that we don't get enough of a characterization from Poe in the first movie. I think it's weird. I think this movie treats Poe like he was a main character last movie, and I just don't think he was. But regardless of all that, the reason it doesn't work is because it is fundamentally flawed from the very get-go. When we find out eventually, it's another one of those things where I'm with it okay. I mean, I'm not loving it, but I'm at least willing to be won over by it. But when you get to the end, you find out what her whole plan was the whole time, and that it was, well, we have to get in these transport ships that don't have armaments on them, and this is why he causes the mutiny. You're going to get us all killed, because we're going to get on the ships without armaments, and I have this plan that could save us all. Why aren't you going with it? Well, she has a different plan that is a more sound plan, because they need a place that they can go and not be out in space anymore being chased by the First Order that can follow them through light speed. So she's like, well, there's this planet that has an old base, and we can go down there and we have supplies, and that's where we should go. Her plan is sound. The problem is, I do not know why she doesn't tell anybody what it is. And worse than that, she does. When Leia wakes up, all of a sudden, because this is the point of the story where the audience needs to know this, and we're right next to that planet conveniently. Leia wakes up conveniently right as we get to the planet. She says, now I'm going to tell everybody. Why? Why is it a secret? There's no reason to make that a secret.
And rewatching the second time, it's even worse. The first thing she says to Poe is, I know you're a hothead who's going to run off half-cocked, so I'm not going to tell you anything.
But she also doesn't tell anybody.
She doesn't.
Nobody knows.
But also, her plan is not sound. Her plan is only sound because this movie is stupid.
Well, that's true. Her plan is sound with the rules we have, but I don't understand those. Those rules are weird.
They're looking directly at the ship through a window.
No one's going to look at the small ships. We're all looking at the big ships. They're not going to notice us.
They're only scanning for big ships. They're looking through a window!
They're right there. Why would they
can
scan?
See it!
Why would they have to scan? I don't understand that. It's really...
Everyone in this movie's an idiot!
Yeah.
No, but that whole thing is so dumb because it should have been...
I just can't think of any good reason why she has to keep that a secret besides just, well, I don't like these hothead pilot guys. Like, well, what do you think he's going to do, though?
She's the worst. It should have been something like Amazing Spider-Man, where, like, he just wasn't getting it, where Peter's talking to the dad, and he's like, no, if we catch that guy's a small fish. He's going to get us to the big fish. You're not looking at the big picture.
Yeah.
It needed to be a payoff like that. It can't just be what it is, because that's idiotic. Well, and that also, you wouldn't tell your people about this.
You saw it slightly more recently than I did. Am I remembering this right? And feel free to tell me in the comments if we end up being wrong about this. And about anything. I mean, we've seen this twice, but, you know, it's a whirlwind. Let me ask you this. Am I right in remembering that she kind of pretends like she has no plan?
No, she just says... Actually, she does.
Isn't it like, I don't really know what we're going to do, but I'll come up with something. You just need to trust the leadership.
Yeah. She says to Poe...
Look, if she had said, leave it alone, I know what I'm doing, even that would have been a lot better.
No, she acts like...
If she really doesn't trust him, it maybe makes sense she doesn't tell him about the plan. I don't know what she
Except
thinks
that the
would happen.
second he hears the plan, he's like, well, that's genius.
No, I get that, but it seems like you said earlier, the way you put it earlier, it seems like the only reason she does that is because she just doesn't like him, and she just...
And because Poe needs to learn a lesson.
Yeah.
It is an after-school special.
It is.
About trusting authority.
And that and Finn are both kind of treated that way a little bit.
Yeah.
The Finn thing I get a little bit more, where it's like, he tends to run from his problems, and he doesn't want to be with the First Order anymore, but he doesn't know if he really wants to be committed to another side because he was forced to be committed to one side. So do I really want to pick a side? I like that idea. I think we could handle that in such a better way. And he seemed to have kind of picked a side at the end of last movie when he uses the lightsaber. It seems like to me. And so
me too.
And so I feel like that was a little bit of a regression.
It's so weird to have such an authoritarian force in the First Order, and the message of Poe is trust authority. Just blindly trust it. Don't question it. She knows what she's doing. Just trust it. And she
isn't the reason the rebellion won originally because it had people
who could think outside the box
that would go against authority when it made sense, you know?
Yeah. And so they
would do that like redemption thing with Data, where he doesn't tell Picard what he's doing because or he doesn't tell his crew because it makes sense not to.
Yeah, we needed an instance where it made sense not to. But what she says to Poe is, she gives that thing that apparently Leia says all the time that we've never heard before, that like, if hope only exists when you can see it, that it's not real at all, or something like that, right? But she's making that falsely, because there is hope, and she could give her people hope, but she's choosing not to.
Yeah, that's
she's
different.
Choosing to keep them in the...
And why are you using... So many people you know have just died. This is not the time for an object lesson.
Yeah, no. And Poe gets... No one gets I guess Poe gets demoted for getting all those people killed in the beginning.
Yeah.
She's responsible for hundreds of people's death, and she's treated like a hero when she breaks the entire universe, and you can never make another Star Wars movie after this.
Wait, how does she get a lot of people killed?
It's her plan with the people, and then they get shot. And I mean that's
but you're blaming her like it was a bad plan. Like
it is a bad plan.
No. It is. It's stupid logic. The script is dumb in that point. But if they really do somehow know for sure they're not scanning for those ships, like they would have made it if it weren't for Kylo Ren.
No. They would have made it if it wasn't for somehow Benicio del Toro hanging out with Finn and Rose, knowing their plan, because somehow
he explains the plan,
and he gives it to the First Order,
right?
And then they start picking them up, which I guess could also be
he has his own side, and he's not working for he won't pick a side,
and that could also be Poe's fault too. But like the leadership, everyone in charge in this movie is terrible.
Yeah.
Like they're all bad at their jobs, and somebody else should take over this resistance because they're gonna lose.
Yeah.
But then she has this heroic sacrifice, which, by the way. Why does she get to heroically sacrifice herself to save people and it's okay and we're supposed to cheer? Well...
Versus what? I'm not sure what
versus Finn getting a lesson.
Yeah.
So she turns her ship...
you mean Poe?
No, I mean Finn. I mean Finn when he goes to sacrifice himself to save the entire resistance.
That's true. Yeah.
And Rose comes in out of nowhere doing something that could easily kill both of them and almost kills her because she's an idiot.
Can I use that to make one of my main points
that
I should have mentioned an hour ago?
Oh, the reversals and reversals?
I'm so done with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can do it once. You can't do it 15 times throughout your movie. And we opened with one with her sister. I got so sick of that. So constant red herrings, constant reversals, constant jerking me around. It's good drama because it's like, wait, maybe this. Having her sister, and this is gonna sound awful, but at least she actually died. But having her, and I'm not saying that has to always be the end of that scene, but there's just slow-mo stuff, and I don't like it in Star Wars anyway, but that's not here nor there. I mean, like if the movie was great, I could live with it, whatever. But it does kind of make it feel too modern and not timeless enough. Mm-hmm. There will come a day where we're not doing that crap anymore.
I couldn't believe we did the Matrix shot.
I couldn't believe it.
I was like, we are 18 years
coming like this with Kylo Ren's lightsaber.
I can't believe we put that in the movie in 2018.
I can't believe we did that either. Well, we do still do that. I can't believe it's in Star Wars. But anyway,
2017.
But I can't believe we had an epilogue in Star Wars. I mean, there's a lot of weird stuff.
An awful epilogue that breaks the universe. Anyways,
but anyway, so it goes on to the point of being obnoxious and almost funny. I think, I'm sure this compelled people. It didn't me. This is just me personally. This is the experience I had with it. And it's weird because it's also a really Abrams move. And it's more Abrams than Abrams.
Of just building the suspense to nothing.
Yeah, but anyway, with her it's not nothing, but I'm just talking about the sister, the thing at the beginning, where, like, you have, where you have, the bombs that she's supposed to drop, and she's not there because the person who was supposed to drop it died, so she goes there, and then the bombs, and then she's supposed to press the button, but she can't get to the thing, and then she gets pinned, and she's stuck, and she can't get to it, and she's kicking the thing, and anyway, the thing that drove me nuts was, I was okay with it until the thing falls. Is she gonna catch it? That was a bridge too far. And then we just kept doing that kind of thing over and over and over again. The one that, okay, so, let me back up and say, you killed off a whole bunch of nameless faces and Admiral Akbar, and people that I'm sure Star Wars fans know that I don't know and don't care about. You killed. You didn't kill her. You didn't kill her. That's hilarious because now you can't. I mean, like Carrie Fisher, rest in peace, but you can't bring her back. So that whole thing. Part of the reason that is so horribly shark jumpy for me is because you set it up and. You know there's a possibility you're going to have to eventually kill her. People get old. You're not going to be able to use her forever. Sorry to say that, but it's morbid, but it's true, right? You're gonna have her survive that in the most insane, crazy way possible, and then put yourself in a position where you might have to kill her off screen. I'm not saying they should have anticipated that the actress was going to die. I'm just saying that, like, even if she continued to be in the movies and you didn't kill her off in the third one, 4 or 5 movies down the road, any way you slice it, any way she dies, you're always going to be like, how does this character die? How does that ever happen? But anyway, you kill all these people. This is what I'm trying to make. I'm sorry. I'm building suspense for no reason. You're trying to you kill all these characters off
drama.
That are nameless and you don't care about, and we don't lose anybody we care about, and anybody, and they make you think Rose is dead. And I said, well, finally there's one, and then she's in a coma at the end, the same way Finn was at the end of the last movie. And I wondered about it because I was like, well, maybe that's just her corpse, but then why is it on a comfortable bed? Why is it on a bed with pillows? Over. You know, I'm pretty sure she's still alive, and what, is that supposed to be like cool poetry? It rhymes because he was in a coma at the end of the last movie, and now his girlfriend's in a coma at the end of this movie. Is that what it's supposed to be? I don't know. But I was like, it's acting like it's taking these huge risks, to your point earlier, but then it keeps cheating.
And takes none of them.
Yeah.
Also...
Okay, you killed off one important character, that's Luke Skywalker, and I really hated the way we did that.
Okay, yeah, we'll get to that.
We're already an hour in.
That's not a risk.
We have got to do that. We have not talked anything like enough about the island or the Jedi or any of that stuff.
Okay. So let me real fast do...
this is hard.
This is really hard to do. I'm talking about this parallel thing. So we break the entire Star Wars universe and cannot salvage it with one scene where we use lightspeed as a weapon.
Thank you. Yeah, you got to bring that up.
So first of all, we never needed a crew before. Giant space cruiser. One person could pilot it, just completely and entirely.
Eric makes TNG references now.
Also, by the way, I double checked when I was watching the second time.
Yeah,
lightspeed is fuel powered.
Yeah, because I looked into it too.
So,
I paid attention to it.
So they're just burning fuel, but she's still able to go lightspeed. Anyways, she uses lightspeed as a weapon, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, it's so cool!" It can't be. It breaks the entire universe because why don't you just do it every time? You're a small rebel alliance. And the first Rebel Alliance had a bunch of these big ships. You telling me that you can't sacrifice one person? One person's not just like, look, you're gonna be a hero forever. Bards will tell tales of you if you just pilot this one ship and take out an entire fleet of Star Destroyers.
Well, and Brandon suggested you could just use an automated one.
Yeah.
Because don't they have those?
Yeah, they do. So why has no one ever thought of this before? Like
the Empire or the First Order, which are essentially the same thing now, would use stormtroopers just because those people are expendable and they don't care about them?
Yeah, why doesn't the Empire do it? No, the only way...
The Empire should have won a long time ago. The First Order should have won a long time ago. If okay, maybe nobody ever thought about it before, but then the problem is moving forward, you're going to have situation after situation where you're going to say, why didn't we just do that?
We can never have a dogfight again. We can never have space combat again.
And we will, but we're just not supposed to think about it.
The only way that this works...
It's not the same thing as the end of Rogue One, where the ship comes at light speed and hits something. No. It's not the same thing.
No, it's not the same thing at all. Space is really big. There's a good chance they're not going to hit something.
Yeah. And they didn't do it on purpose.
No, it was an accident. But they, it's the dumbest thing in the world, and I don't buy that no one ever thought of it beforehand. But even if we go with that, go with that, moving forward, the only way you can move forward is if we do a Lensman thing where it becomes an upping the ante of military.
Yeah.
Next movie, all combat has to be lightspeed.
You have to weaponize lightspeed after this, and I bet you money we don't go there.
They will not do that. They will not do that, and it just...
It doesn't feel like it's setting anything up. There's no talk about it afterwards.
It's
like,
just
oh my god,
so
this changes everything.
Cool. Like, and that's what I'm supposed to feel in that moment.
Yeah.
Like, it's manipulating me, but I'm a thinking person, and I was like, oh wait, but this breaks the entire universe.
Star Wars is science fantasy before it's science fiction. It's not about the tech, but it still has... As generic as Star Wars tech feels in the movies, it still has some rules.
And this is one of those things where you have to give fictional universes where there are things that if you think about it, you can break them.
Yeah.
And this is one of those. You can't... This is one of those things where, like, I'm sure someone was like, hey, if they can just do that, why don't they do it through something? Like, wouldn't that be cool? No, you can't do that. You can't do it because it breaks the whole universe. I know that maybe you think you can do it, but, like, you just can't...
Well, you just should never go there.
You just can't touch it.
Yeah.
Because it breaks everything. Why they just like... Why do they need a Death Star? Send a Star Destroyer through a planet.
Again, that might feel like a nitpick, and if it was just a random thing that happened that didn't affect the story in any way, it would be more that way. The problem is it's the climax of the film.
Well, it's the first of many climaxes
of the 5 climaxes in the film.
Okay, but to parallel that with the Finn thing, because the Finn thing is ridiculous, is that Finn is about to do the exact same thing. which is he's gonna go into that mini Star Destroyer cannon or a mini Death Star cannon to save the Resistance on the planet, right? Like he's going in, and then Rose comes in out of nowhere, having to ruin the movie again.
Death Star tech, which I would think would just be lasers, but okay.
I would think Death Stars would just be giant lasers.
Yeah, but all right.
Anyways,
I'm not sure I like. This is a nitpick, but we were talking about language earlier. I'm not sure if I like using that kind of language in the Star Wars tech. Yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like the way
that one didn't stand out to me.
Oh, really? Okay, all right.
I mean,
no problem.
You can have the read you have.
Yeah, sure.
But so he's going to do the exact same thing Jurassic Park lady did, right?
Yeah.
He's going to sacrifice himself so that they can get away.
I understand, folks. I'm not trying to make pot shots of this movie. I don't have to, because it's just got these huge looming, I don't even know what I'm looking at, choices. And B, I wanted to love this movie. I expected to love this movie.
Yeah, I expected it to be quality. I went in assuming there was no chance it wasn't going to be better than Force Awakens.
Yeah.
It would at least be better than Force Awakens.
I'm so disappointed. This is not what I expected.
So Finn goes to do this self-sacrifice thing where he's going to buy the Resistance time so they can get away. And then Rose comes in, almost kills both of them, and gives the most obnoxious speech where she says, "We're not going to win by destroying by killing the ones we hate. We're going to win by saving the ones we love," which is a fine little sentiment that applies in no way to the situation we're in.
Yeah,
he was going at a non-manned cannon. He was not trying to kill anyone. He wasn't doing it out of anger.
That's a great point.
And he was doing it to save people. He literally was doing the same thing that Jurassic Park lady did in space, and we treated her like a hero, and it was her fault that it was happening.
Yeah.
But
wow.
We're acting like Finn should have learned a lesson. No, he shouldn't have. He was trying to save the ones he loved. He was trying to save the Resistance, and she stopped him from doing that. What does that even mean in the context of war? We're not going to kill the ones we hate. We're going to save the ones we love. How do you win?
Yeah,
How do you ever win?
And and the thing is, she's not entirely passive and non-violent because she works for a rebellion.
She electrocutes people all the time.
Electrocutes people for, well, that's not what I was going to say. You're right. I mean, also, that's not especially non-violent. But, importantly, she hates deserters who are soldiers and wants them to stay and fight. And then pick a side and fight.
Yeah. No, she makes no sense, and she's awful. But
she's acting like a pacifist at the end, where it's like, no, we're gonna win by not hurting. But no, you have to hurt them. Sorry, and you know that, and you were okay with it until this point. It seemed like it was more about this is an unnecessary sacrifice,
but it wasn't.
But it wasn't.
Also, I don't know how they get back to the Resistance after they crash.
And why not? I mean, what happens? Though, like, does she save him? Then the ship still crashes into the thing. Is that what happened, or
no? Luke Skywalker shows up.
Wow, so she could have gotten everybody killed. Like, that was also a really bad idea on her part. Because here's the thing. What it should have been was a rescue. She comes in and figures out some way, I don't know what this is, but she comes in and figures out some way to take him out of it and still blows up the thing, where it's like,
yeah, you didn't have to.
She doesn't. Like, you did have to sacrifice yourself, but I love you and I make sure you didn't. And then that's where you have a kiss, and the kiss makes sense.
Yeah.
Right?
No, instead it is...
Like, the whole movie, they've been cultivating a relationship, and she's lost so many people today. Like, that's the line, right? I've lost too many friends today. That's, like something like that. I know that comes from other movies, but, like, that's the kind of
that's
sentiment.
Fine.
That's the sentiment, though.
They just ripped off the line from Incredibles, where she's like, why, I saved your life, and he might as well have said, no, you ruined my death. I was going to save all these people. No, she's awful. She cannot come back for the next movie.
She will, though. She's gonna call him at the end. Yeah, she'll wake up and walk around with water coming out of her.
She's in a film of bad performances. She is, I think, the most amateurish. Like it really feels like she knows someone, and she really wanted to be in Star Wars, and they made a character for her.
And I like the lady from Jurassic Park, but I thought her performance was pretty bad.
She's bad in a different way.
Yeah.
Rose feels like she shouldn't be allowed in movies. Yeah, like she's not an actress.
Yeah, she was just too over the top, I think. And maybe the problem was understanding the material she was in too much, because it is way too over the top, and she's not taking it very seriously, I don't think.
Okay, so we kind of covered most things except for the Jedi stuff. Do you want to go back to the Jedi stuff?
We have to. I'm sorry, we're over an hour, but we have to.
It's Star Wars.
Yeah. Oh, do I have to begin? Okay,
okay, I'll start with another reversal that doesn't work that's tied to all of this.
Absolutely.
And this movie pretending it's ballsy and not being that.
Yeah.
The death of Luke Skywalker. So, Luke Skywalker walks in, and they cheat and also tell you what's going on at the same time, and that's infuriating.
Yeah.
Luke hands someone something.
No, it's more than that. It's more than that.
It's more than that?
It's more than that. Now, it's kind of interesting because I didn't think of it until a second viewing, but then I felt so dumb and assumed everyone else must have thought of it.
Is it the hair?
It's the lightsaber, dude.
Oh, no, I also picked up on that. I was like, well, that's dumb. He's got a green lights.
No, having any lightsaber at all. Like, he didn't have a lightsaber on the island.
I don't know that.
Wait, was it green?
No, it's blue on the planet, which is how I knew it was different. Because his Return of the Jedi lightsaber
No, that's not what I mean.
Green.
When he
attacks Kylo, it's green. We never see him use the lights.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought. Okay, I made a mistake there. I thought he was using the lightsaber they already broke earlier, and that was supposed to be a tell.
He is.
Oh.
Yeah. No, I'm saying I don't know that he doesn't have a lightsaber on the island.
Because but he's using no lightsaber there. He's pretending like he has a lightsaber, right? Am I right?
I don't know what's happening.
Okay.
So we see
that should be a tell where it's like you already broke the lightsaber. Like you can't have that lightsaber.
It is a tell, but also so is his hair. His hair is short and his beard is short, like it is in the flashback with Kylo.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But so that's a tell. Also, the lightsaber being Luke's or Anakin's lightsaber.
Right, but in a movie like this where I'm already not trusting it and I'm not with it, I wouldn't have given any credence at all to facial things being different, especially because Rey, and we haven't hardly talked about Rey, who was my favorite character last movie, and that part of why we're not talking about her is because she doesn't get to do anything interesting in this. She almost does, and then she doesn't.
And she's so angry all the time.
She suddenly
so
has. I know it's sad. She suddenly has Jedi robes, and I don't know where she got them. And so in this kind
they
of
were on the Falcon.
In this kind of movie, I'm not even gonna think about facial stuff. Yeah.
But no, he is using Anakin's lightsaber, which is a lightsaber that she brings to him.
Right.
So like that should be a tell.
But they broke it.
I thought they were just being. There is a preference with a lot of people towards that lightsaber versus Luke's Return of the Jedi lightsaber. That's my favorite lightsaber. And so I just assumed it was just another one of those things like, well, he built a lightsaber that looked like his dad's because we all just live in our childhood and we want it to look like it does in Empire.
Okay.
That's what I thought was happening. I didn't take it as
You know why I assumed he didn't have one?
Why?
Because the first thing he did when she showed up was throw it behind him. Why would he have a lightsaber?
I don't know. For
maybe he built one in the last few... Maybe that's why it took him so long to show up. He built one.
Yeah.
But I don't think he has one on the island.
So Luke Skywalker rolls out, and it looks like it's going to be an epic
That's
fight.
not necessarily fair, because it's not like he has thought to destroy the Jedi texts until now. But
Yeah.
Anyway,
have you seen the animated Clone Wars, the Tartakovsky one?
We talked about it, yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
I love it.
Okay. So Luke walks out, and I
wish it was canon. It's really good.
It's amazing. Luke walks out, and I assume that what I am about to see, because again, everyone keeps talking about how crazy this movie is, like from the script level, this movie's crazy. Luke walks out, and I'm like, oh man, I am gonna see the Mace Windu episode of that show in live. I am gonna see Luke wreck 4 AT-ATs. I am gonna see what Luke Skywalker can do. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be crazy. He's just gonna take all this down.
You had heard a reviewer refer to him as John Wick.
Yes. I heard someone say Luke Skywalker John Wick. I was like, he's gonna take out 4 AT-ATs by himself.
I don't know what that person was talking about now,
no
but
idea. It's gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
Instead, he just taunts Kylo Ren because Kylo Ren is a petulant child and bears no menace, and how can you possibly leave me with him as the only threat for the next movie? He's not scary. He got punked again.
He's not that interesting anymore.
He lost twice.
Well, that too. Yeah.
But so Luke Skywalker's there, and there's this big reveal, and that he's force projecting himself, and I was like, okay. I didn't see this coming. Luke Skywalker is not going to die. We all went into this movie assuming he was going to die. I didn't expect him to not die. That would have been a big surprise.
Yeah.
Oh man, Luke Skywalker's going to be hanging out at least for the next movie. And then he dies. It's a reversal of a reversal, just like the Rey Kylo thing, where it's like,
yeah,
they do a reversal. I'm like, oh, I didn't see that coming.
And
then,
what in the world would you do with it? Like,
and then they reversed it again, and I was like, oh, so it's exactly what I thought. How do you think this is interesting?
And that's so much more disappointing than just doing the safe thing in the first place.
And why didn't he just go then?
I don't know. I do not know why he doesn't just go.
Because Rey shows up, so you can't tell me it's a time issue. We see his X-Wing. It seems to be in fine condition just under the water.
He can bring it out.
Yeah, he can bring it out.
We know he can do that.
No, it's absurd.
Yeah.
It's a movie that keeps making you think it's making bold and daring and choices, and then just does the safest things possible. Who was surprised that Luke died? Like, that's what I assumed everyone thought going in. Like, I assumed. It's called The Last Jedi.
And his big send-off is to be a diversion. And I just think that's a little lame.
And also, I don't know what Rey is doing for that entire scene. Rey comes in to kind of help out, then she just disappears for the rest of the climax until she saves people, because she can just lift rocks.
Rocks. Yeah.
Luke Skywalker...
She says lifting rocks, but she didn't actually learn that part.
No, Luke Skywalker went through some training to be able to lift 3 rocks. She can lift all of these rocks with no training.
Which, again, if there... I don't want to talk in circles, but the whole last movie made us think... Oh man, there's gotta be, or made me think, there's gotta be, I guess I was drinking Kool-Aid, I don't know. There's gotta be some reason she's able to do all this.
Based on this movie, it seems like they just fundamentally don't understand Star Wars. They don't get how it works.
Explain to me why you had a Force ghost of... Or I say Force ghost. Explain to me why you have a voice of Obi-Wan calling to her in the first movie,
and then do nothing with that.
Explain that to me. Like she's. It seems like she's supposed to be some kind of new chosen one or seer or something, and.
Yep.
And it's just nothing. I know I keep talking about this, but it drives me nuts.
Why does Yoda show up and give Luke the pep talk about failures, which I think is supposed to be the theme of this movie, but doesn't actually work.
Okay.
I think that is what this theme is supposed to be, is we grow the most from our failures. Everyone fails in this movie.
Right, yeah.
The problem is, it's not interesting.
It makes you better afterwards, yeah.
Because everyone fails because they're idiots, or it's bad writing. But Yoda shows up. Wouldn't it make way more sense for Obi-Wan Kenobi to show up, given that he's been through the same... Why did Obi-Wan Kenobi show up before this?
Yeah.
Like, when he's like, I'm going to go into hiding because I raised another Darth Vader. Why didn't Obi-Wan Kenobi show up and be like, okay, I did that, and the galaxy got taken over by him. Maybe don't do that.
Wouldn't somebody at least show up and be like, look, you can't cut yourself off from the Force. There's no balance. Like, look at what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of a bent and broken Luke Skywalker is fine. I'm not complaining that...
My favorite character archetype is bent and broken people.
I like the
really
idea,
depressed.
I like the idea that he just thinks everybody's going to go the way Vader did, and it's really tragic because he was given the opportunity to go that way, and he did the right thing, and nobody else has, and isn't that sad? And it is. And I also like the idea that she's his chance at redemption, that he doesn't get a chance to take. He does finally decide he's going to, but I question
But he dies before anything happens.
I also question his motivations. I mean, why he decides to do that. I don't know that I buy. The thing with Yoda, I'm with you. I'm not sure how I feel about that.
And Yoda's dialogue is so weirdly worded.
Yeah, but beyond that, so like that leading to okay, maybe I'm not so on about like the Jedi need to end and stuff. I guess I get that. I don't know. I'm not sure what Luke is even feeling after that, except that he has a token line at the end where
not the Last Jedi.
He's gone against that whole thing. But I don't
because
think
the movie just constantly
naturally got there. But even
themes.
before that, he sees R2-D2, and R2-D2 plays the old Leia message from the first movie, and so he goes, for some reason, from that to, okay, fine, I'll train this girl. I don't buy it. Like, I just don't... That leap is weird. I mean, like, Luke still cares about his friends. Remember the end of Empire. Remember the whole point of that movie was, or the whole point of the end of that was, he cares more about his friends than anything, but he's not looking at the bigger picture. The problem here is he's so afraid about the bigger picture, he's not thinking about his friends. That's what it should have been about for him, right? And he should have had an actual real character arc, because he's not just there as the wise mentor. He's there as the disgruntled, refusing to be a mentor, kind of like... I mean, sort of like Yoda, except Yoda gets around it real fast, right? Like Yoda doesn't need a character arc. He finally says, fine, I'll train you. And it ends up making sense that happens in Empire. Because at first he doesn't want to. He's like, you're too old, and all of that. But it's not that... But I think it's just that he's not sure if it's a good idea, and he is too old, and it's not the way you usually do that. That's all that was, right? But with this, it's just... It seems to me like he would have to have a character arc, because he's got this huge chasm to jump. So he needed to be a dual protagonist, at least for that subplot. And part of the problem is too many subplots, too many protagonists in this movie.
Rey, Kylo, and Luke all have character arcs in between scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Kylo makes no sense in this movie.
Yeah.
At least in the movie we're given. Maybe there's delete, because apparently it's a 3.5 hour was the initial cut of this movie.
Yeah.
I don't think that will fix most of this stuff. It might at least fix Luke and Kylo and Rey getting to any kind of place they get to.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't. Doesn't Rey feel like such a an afterthought in this movie?
Yeah, she does. And
she is the new protagonist.
Yeah.
Why is she barely in this movie?
Why is she so buried? And that was really, guys. That was one of my biggest disappointments. Besides some of how the story was told, which we've gone over. But she is not given a chance to do anything, and then she doesn't get to learn anything from Luke Skywalker, really. And the thing is, she's able to do all this stuff without any training. And then they do the scene, which I kind of liked, where he says, reach out, and he met with your feelings, but she reaches out with her arm, and then he smacks her. I kind of like that.
Yeah, that's like old Kung Fu movie.
I also think it's funny that he walks up with the switch like he knows what she's going to do. I think that's funny.
And then he just throws it away after she does it?
Yeah, that's fun. But she should be terrible at the Force. She doesn't understand the basic notion of it. When she says, I know that you can control people with it and
move rocks.
And move rocks.
Which is all she does, and the movie seems to come down firmly on that is all Jedi do.
Yeah.
That's all the Force is.
Yeah, but anyway, but when she when she says that, and then he's like, everything you said was wrong, I'm like, good, now she's going to get trained by Luke Skywalker, and she's going to learn how to refocus the energies and stuff. And they try to make the fight at the end of Force Awakens with Kylo Ren not about her ability to use the Force, even though she closes her eyes and does a big Force thing. Not about using the Force, but about how he's too distracted and conflicted, so he's easy to beat right then, which also would explain the Finn thing. I'm not saying that completely works, but if she then got Jedi training and she felt like an actual Jedi by the time we get to the next one, it's better. That would all work better. She needs to be a blunt instrument that needs to be directed somewhere. I mean, any way you slice it, she does still have to be this super powerful Jedi from whom this incredible power comes from somewhere.
Well,
you still would have to have that, but even without that, I at least want her to be someone who doesn't have a philosophy and a focus, and because she's all about just getting back to a path she can never get back to again, and it's supposed to be about learning to move forward. And at the end of this, I guess it is that in the sense that she learns that her family didn't mean anything, and so now she's just fully embracing going forward and sort of being a Jedi, even though we kind of got sort of away from Jedi, I guess. But I don't know, she's not compelling.
Well, and there's this problem of, we keep talking about her and Kylo as if they're like a pair. Like Snoke talks about her being like his opposite, right?
Yeah. You're right. The film you're watching is continuing the mystery until it decides it's not one anymore.
She seems so powerful at all times, and he feels so weak. It's the same problem as the ending of that movie, where she feels so powerful with no training. He spent at least a decade training, and he feels so weak.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. We've got to move on.
Yes.
But let me ask you this, because this is a big thing I thought after a second viewing. You have, once again, a thing I liked that was then immediately dashed. Rey and, or excuse me, Kylo Ren, I keep doing that. I know it's weird because it's like a run. Kylo Ren and Rey have this Force connection, and we're wondering what that is. And you're thinking it's part of that mystery because there was a mystery and the Force awakened and there's something going on there.
Different now.
Why are they connected? And it seemed like it probably had something to do with that fight they had at the end of the last movie. But then it turns out that it was Snoke doing it all along. That was one of the things that felt really Harry Potter to me. That's very Harry Potter.
Yes, that's very Harry Potter.
And, but I liked that reveal. And then I thought about it. And I was like, but why can't he find the island?
Yeah.
Why can't Kylo Ren find the island if he's connected them together and can see what they're going to do?
If Snoke is powerful enough to do that, why can't he just sense where she is?
And like to your point way earlier, if he's that powerful, it's really ridiculous that he doesn't see the lightsaber coming. At the very least, that he doesn't notice it's moving behind him.
Yeah. Well, it's because his eyes are closed, you see? It's brilliant writing. His eyes are closed.
And like I've talked about this with people.
And metaphorically, his mind's eyes are closed.
I've talked about this with a couple people that are like, well, yeah, but like, did you watch the scene? He explains it, and I'm like, yeah, but it doesn't. I don't think it works. Like, yeah, he's getting the intent of killing, but not which side he's jumped onto. But he's reading like the fact that he's conflicted all the way through the movie. And I just feel like wouldn't he sense the darkness? He would sense the darkness. I'm not buying it. That's all.
I'm gonna say I don't want to make like broad proclamations or like something that I'm gonna have to like pedal back from. Right now, I'm done with the Star Wars universe. I'm not interested in seeing Episode 9. I'm not interested in reading any of the comics because I don't care where this Luke Skywalker comes from because he turns out to be a loser.
It feels real broken to me. I don't feel like there's much of a mythology right now. It feels like it's whatever they want it to be in the moment. Like it comes down for me to basic internal logic issues. I can't suspend my disbelief anymore. And like the next movie might be a whole lot better, and I will watch it. But I feel like I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna watch. I will see it.
I don't know at this point.
Yeah,
I will see how I am in 2 years.
I will see it, but just because I'm too curious to see what a guy does with this madness sandwiched in between his own work. I think that's really interesting, and so I have to see that happen.
I'm going to go back to Legends. I'm going to go back to the books and comics that
I don't want
warts and all know are better.
And understand, I didn't want Abrams to come back to this. The more I watched The Force Awakens, the more I agree with it being too much of a carbon copy of the original movie. But I was giving some of that maybe potential artistic merit that would be clearer with a new movie. But now it's a mulligan. It's moot.
And this movie was too aware of the fact that it was a carbon copy.
It was.
And so many times it feels like it's just a middle finger to the audience of just like hey, you know how we think, and starting in the exact same place as Empire, or it looks like it's going to start in the exact same place as Empire.
Yeah.
The Rebels are on a small, secluded planet. I think that is a snow planet. It's on a small secluded planet. The Empire's there. It's thumbing its nose at you.
Yeah.
And being like, we know what you think, but we're smarter than you are.
I made the mistake, like I said, of getting too enamored with some of the ideas potentially in Force Awakens, and also becoming too much of a Star Wars fan over the last couple of years. Now I'm invested. I mean, I gotta tell you, like, I'm kind of numb to it now because it's been a few days, and I'm now used to living in a world where I don't like this movie, and that's really sad. Eric will tell you, after that first viewing, and when we started talking about it, I was livid.
Yeah.
And when I took Sarah and the kids, like, I was livid. I was beside myself. I was so upset that I got this movie that makes no sense and they ruined the mythology. And Rey is just kind of angry and nothing. And I loved her before, and I was so excited to see where she came from and stuff. And so anyway, I made the mistake of getting too invested, and I feel like Star Wars for me is in the same place now where Star Trek is for me. And it just feels like they're both beyond repair until somebody completely reboots. So I'm just in this place like I don't care anymore. That sucks. I hate that.
This movie kind of kills Star Wars.
That's how I felt about it. And I know that's really harsh. And I know there's gonna be.
Oh, I'm shocked.
Yeah, and well, it's obligatory, but I know there's obviously going to be some backlash in the comments, and they're going to be folks that are like, you guys are too hard on this, and it's and it doesn't ruin Star Wars. It just, for us, this is how we feel about it. It kind of ruins it for me.
I'm gonna go back to.
I don't mean retroactively, like I
can't
can't look at anything Star Wars anymore. But I was talking about mistakes I made. I also looked too much into EU stuff that is not fluffy and watered down and kind of insulting the audience like this is.
The Thrawn trilogy doesn't do this.
Yeah.
Obviously, Legacy, but like it's just, and the other thing is there is so much EU I haven't gone through where I'm like, there is stuff that I'm still interested in going, and I've deprioritized it because there's new continuity and it doesn't count anymore, and I'll get to it eventually. Screw that! This continuity sucks. I'm going back to the old one. I'm going to see all the stuff that I didn't get to see before.
Yeah, and now I feel like I was in kind of the same place with the Abrams movies with Star Trek. I don't dislike those the way I did this. Even Darkness, I don't dislike the way I disliked this. And I liked it when it first came out. This I did not like when it first came out. But but the big difference is that was movies, and I was waiting for a TV show, and I finally got a TV show, and I don't like it either, and it doesn't work for me either. So I don't know. I'm just in a place now where I'm like, both of these franchises. It's really sad. I mean, I feel like Star Wars is in a worse place than Star Trek in a way, because it's messing with its canon wholesale. Discovery is acting like they're going to have an out where they're going to explain the continuity issues, and if it turns out that whole show happens in a different continuity, Star Trek's in a better place than Star Wars is.
Because
this is canon and will be forevermore.
Given how divisive this film has been, because it does seem to be incredibly divisive.
Yeah.
It is not like Force Awakens where there's detractors, but most people seem to love it. This film is very divisive. I want them to give us what we deserve. Go back and start publishing the Legend stuff
Have an alternate continuity.
Yeah. Because there's stuff that they canceled. I want the Christy Golden Sword of the Jedi about Jaina Solo.
Yeah.
Start publishing some of that stuff again. I get why you didn't publish it initially. At this point, I think you owe it to your fans to start publishing some Legend stuff again. I think. But
so anyway, really long how we felt
very
about
briefly.
I guess crazy massive spoiler cast on top of the how we felt about stuff. But there it is. There's where we're at with Star Wars. We weren't going to pull punches. It's just how we feel about it. If you're watching these as separate videos, we're going to go ahead and upload how we felt about in a couple of different videos. And then we're actually going to have sort of a third how we felt about, well, a little bit later when we get to It's a Wonderful Life. I want to do that as its own thing also. So lots of us feeling about different movies, different ways. That's going to be a how we felt about Christmas special. So anyway, if you're just watching the Omnibus, obviously it doesn't matter to you. You're just going to watch us review a whole lot of movies. But go ahead and click on the second part if it has been uploaded by now when you finish the video on its own after we talk about Star Wars.